Howdy guys, welcome back to Let's Play Secret of Mana. In the last episode we defeated the hardest boss in the Super Nintendo game, the Spiky Tiger. And in this episode we're going to save Undine? Undine? Something like that. Well, we're gonna go rescue her. Alright, so something I didn't get to talk about with the Spiky Tiger is the reason why he's probably easier in this game is he doesn't have invincibility frames, unlike the Super Nintendo version of the game. So if you were to cause even 1 point of damage to the Spiky Tiger in the Super Nintendo game, he would enter into his little hit animation and he'd be invincible for that short amount of time. And essentially, as soon as he'd get out of it, he would often jump into the air and land on you, or jump and land on a upper platform, breathe fire on you, and so on. He'd immediately attack. Okay, level up, nice. Let's see, am I leveled up with any of these things? Nope, I still need to level up with the axe. Alright. Ooh, they're all really close. One more kill and we'll all level up with our weapons. Alright. So these things, new enemy, Ifish, they spit water and jump on you. Super Nintendo games are a lot easier. Oh, there we go. They are a lot easier to deal with because they can only face 4 directions and attack you as such. But in this one, 360, so it's a lot harder to deal with that. Let's see, what do I want to use with him? Well shoot, he leveled up the axe, bow, can use the boomerang, can use the whip, and the spear. I'll use the spear. Oh, he didn't level up with that, my bad. But she did level up with the boomerang. I'll give her the whip. And there's the bow level up. Alright. Okay, and I'll give him the sword, because he's level 0 with the level 2. Alright, cool, I'm gonna level up.
What the?
What in the... Well, and here we got a new enemy, the Tonpole. All it does is look cute and hop around. We're beating up an innocent baby. We are horrible monsters. We're the real monsters in this game. Yep, it can actually cause damage to you if you touch it. I didn't think it did when I was a kid and playing the Super Nintendo game. What? It's transformed into its true form for boss time. This is the biting lizard, and it does what you think. It sticks its tongue out, you might not think that, just like Yoshi, and then it, well, bites you and spits you back out again. In the Super Nintendo game, the whole only being able to shoot his tongue out in 4 directions really helps out. You can avoid the damage really well. Oh, and you already got him in the Cure Water phase, that's awesome. So normally, Super Nintendo, you stay off center with him and just stab him, or slash him, or whatever it is you do. In this, I'll just beat him up, no iframes. Whoop. Oop. Take him out, guys. Alright, I don't want to risk Popoi dying. It's probably only 1 or 2 more hits and this guy will die, I'm sure. Yep. He didn't get hit again, but I'm not risking that. So this wasn't the first recording. In the last recording, it glitched out. He got spit out, so I tried to heal him, but he got eaten before the heal took, so then he got spit out again and killed, and it didn't heal, unlike the Spiky Tiger incident. So, yeah. And my wife said, you should have kept that, and I didn't realize that I probably should, so you could see a glitch, but that was my bad. Well, looks like we did it. We've saved Undine. Undine. Who are you?
I am Undine.
Undine.
The water elemental. In return for your kindness, you may use my power. Elementals may manifest as 2 types of spells, to use as you will.
Cool.
You may call upon my recovery and defense magic, and you may use my battle magic.
What about me?
You are the wielder of the mana sword. Magic will never be yours to master.
Ouch.
For to pit your own magic against that of your sword could yield disastrous results. However, you may channel the magic of others through your mana weapon. For instance, she can cast Ice Saber on your weapon, turning your enemies into snowmen.
I don't recommend that.
In addition, I leave this mana weapon to you. With it, you may attack enemies both above and below you. Call upon me at any time.
And here we get the pole dart, the last weapon of the game. Oh, and the power of Undine.
All right! I'll be a master mage in no time.
You are unstoppable, po' boy. Alright, so the pole dart, pretty sweet weapon. In the Super Nintendo game, it was by far the longest ranged weapon in the game, and you could hit enemies from, well, a whole lot of places, just because of the way it worked. In this, I don't really know how its range compares. We can test that out sometime. But I want to just stick to my leveling up things the way it is. Alright, so we finally have access to magic, so why don't we check that out there. Acid Rain. It says lowers enemies' defense. I think it just means you cause more damage to them. Absorbs enemies' HP. Use that to heal the sprite and cause damage to the enemy. And this just causes elemental ice damage to the enemy. Why don't we try HP Absorb? When he's full health. Oh, good. He took damage. 34. Full health again. So, pretty nice thing there. You know what, I'll show this other one afterward. Oh, I missed. And you see, I almost walked both of them right into the attack, because the way they follow in this game. Alright, so let's take a look at Prim's magic. She has Ice Saber. So, gains the power of water. Essentially, it turns your weapons into ice weapons. When you hit the enemy, it turns them into snowmen. I guess I can show that off, but if I recall, even in this game, when you hit them, they're immune to all damage as snowmen, at least from physical attacks. So, it's not very practical. See, they're immune to damage. So it's only if you have a whole lot of really, really strong enemies that you don't want to deal with all at once. Alright, let's show one of her other spells. Cure Water, restores HP. Literally everyone needs at least this to some degree right now. This is a godsend. One of the best spells you'll ever have for the entire game, and you get it right at the start of the game. Oh, and they cast Acid Storm, I completely forgot. And they can spam Acid Storm. I completely forgot. So, you don't want to be hit with physical attacks after being hit with Acid Storm. Alright, Healing Power of Undine. Awesome. So, one thing to note is how magic works in this. He can't use it. So let's go over to our magic thing here, and it levels just the way weapons do. It levels by use. So, another thing to note too is when your weapons are out, you gain more experience for casting spells. So always cast your spells when your weapons are out. And remember, inns, you can actually heal your MP there. So it's a good idea to go to the inns to heal MP. And also Sage Luka, she's another good person to check out because she will fully restore you. So what I like to do is, when I start out the game with her, is I like to just level her thing up or use it as much as I can whenever an MP restoring place is right nearby. You don't have to do this, but I just like to. And another really neat thing to note about this version of the game is when you level up, it also restores your MP. It does not do so in the Super Nintendo version of the game. So you'll end up spending a whole lot more money on fairy walnuts in that version of the game. So, some people call this game grindy because of the way magic is leveled up and how powerful magic is, but I don't think so. But let me talk to her first.
I'll heal you. Would you like to save the game?
Sure, why not? Let's save it here.
Use Undine's power to clear the magma in the underground palace.
Guess that's where we're going next.
Crystal orbs are made to respond to a specific elemental's power.
Okay, so I guess that's how we're gonna deal with that. But anyway, if you just cast your spells as you're going along in the world, like casually, you don't sit and grind, I think you will level them up exactly as much as you need to as you go throughout the game. At least until much, much later in the game. But we'll deal with that when we come to it. Alright, so there's two different ways we can go. And actually, I'm gonna check something out. So, you know how Neko's captured and stuck in LNA's little place? I want to see if he came back home, or if he's not home anymore. This is more of a curiosity thing, because I don't think I ever found that out. Alright. Are you here, Neko? He is! Alright, cool. Alright. So we're gonna make our way over to Gaia's Navel. But we're not gonna head through Pandora, we're gonna go through the Haunted Forest. And there's one other thing I want to show. Oh, she already is equipped. There's one thing I want to show in Gaia's Navel. It's a not very traveled path. $34 gold pieces. That's pretty nice to note from the Chobin Hoods. Cool. Well, since it's all the same here, I think I'll just cut it, and I'll meet you where I wanted to, well, be in Gaia's Navel. So, be right back, viewers. Alright, we're back.
Oh! You made it out in one piece! That's good news!
Sure is. So, that wasn't the only thing I wanted to show you guys. And no, it's not the cannon travel. We'll see that soon enough. Oh. Well, it's level 2. So, cool. And speaking of which, we have a bunch of orbs. Or at least one. So, yeah, we can take advantage of that. Since we're going down to the underground palace, Watts is right next to it. You know, I don't think I showed you the cave where the underground palace is located, to be honest with you. But what I wanted to show you is this whole area over here. There's no real reason to come over here throughout the entirety of the game other than simply to enjoy the fact that, well, they made it. Wow, that was a big whiff. It's just a longer way around to kind of see more of the landscape. I guess it can kind of set the mood a little bit for the game. Oh, poison needles. And it's also a way to get you poisoned. So, yeah, Super Nintendo game, it didn't look like logs, it looked like a tiny little bridge, I guess they made, but I like the look of it better here in this game. Oh, there's mushrooms on it too, that's cool. And this leads you just right around. Oop. Cool, candy. It leads you right around to the opening near Kippo. Right down there. Alright. So, I guess I'll cut away again to Watts' area. So, be right back. Alright, so we're pretty close, and as you can see, Neko isn't here. So, yeah. Oh, and I guess I should have shown, but he wasn't in the Haunted Forest either. So, yep. Other than his house, it appears that he's just, sitting out in Eleni's castle. Keeping her company.
I've been waiting! Which weapon is ready for reforging?
Alright, let's find out. The boomerang, for one. And now it's the Chakram. Or Chakram? I want to say Chakram. Cannot forward you. The Spike Knuckle is now the Power Glove. And that's off. Alright. Ooh, it looks really cool, too. You know what? We've used up some of our MP. Why don't we take a nap? Or sleep for the night, cause
one night is 15 deep.
Because time doesn't pass until we sleep.
What is it? Is there something on my face?
Just can't decide if I should make you my underlings or not. You look like troublemakers to me.
Underling? Forget it. Besides, he looks more the subordinate type than I do.
No way am I taking orders from them.
So that was a strange act back there. Did you really manage to trick travelers into giving you money?
No comment.
That's not good enough. Tell me.
No one else fell for our ruse except for you guys.
Wow.
Good. I don't want to travel around with a liar who cheated a bunch of innocent people out of their gold.
Calling me a liar's a little harsh. I apologized already, remember? It's in my nature to be tricky. I'm a sprite. You just gotta expect a prank or two.
Not on this journey.
What a mischievous little guy. I really do like those little conversations they have. It interjects a bit of, I don't know, a little bit more life into the game. Because I believe Secret of Mana was actually originally supposed to be part of a CD add-on for the Super Nintendo, but it got scrapped, so they had to cut 40% of this game's script. So, yeah, kind of a lot to cut out. So, alright, I guess we'll come here and check out the underground palace. Yeah, that's interesting. And of course, casting Freeze on the Crystal Orb should be enough to, well, remove the barrier. Or at least chill the lava. Alright, you know what? Why don't we make this one a little longer? We'll just go straight on through this thing. Alright. Goblins. Ooh. And their boomerangs are kind of vicious. In the Super Nintendo game, this was a really, really hard fight. Because they cause high damage, they can multiply themselves. See? Or not multiply themselves, but... Did I just do the door? Well, they create more, like, kid goblins. Like, one's Ma Goblin, the other one's Kid Goblin. Ah, it's the Kid Goblin who calls the Ma Goblin. The kid calls the mommy. So, yeah, and they're a lot faster and hit harder in the Super Nintendo game, so it's a lot harder to deal with in that. Oh, and here we get the Chess Knights. In the Super Nintendo game, they have ridiculously high defense. It's very difficult to cause them any damage whatsoever, and they have high evasiveness as well. And when they cast speed up on themselves, they become very aggressive and can chain attack you down, just like the Polter chairs. At least they're more aggressive in the Super Nintendo version of the game. Come on, you can hit the guy. Oh, I guess speed up also increases the evasiveness too, I'm sure. See, in the Super Nintendo game, for them using speed up and them becoming more aggressive, it really didn't change all that much in terms of like their evasiveness and whatnot. So I really didn't care that they casted it. And these guys really aren't a threat anymore. Just come over here, hit a switch. And we gotta do the same on the other side. I don't want to fight you, you take too long to kill. Alright. And these guys, not a threat anymore. Just free money and experience is all they are. Excellent. And hitting both of those switches unlocks the way forward. Alright, and these goblins. Another thing to note is they wake up a lot sooner than their normal goblin counterparts that we met in the dwarf cave in Gaia's Navel. Cool, free level up, free heal. Oh, and that's one thing I forgot to do. So it's a good thing to actually take advantage of the full magic heal. If you know one of your characters is gonna level up pretty soon, or within an area, it's good to cast all your spells to try and level up as soon as you can. Or to level up your magic, frequently. It's just really nice, because it's a power Vambrace. Do we already have that? I'm pretty sure we do. Yeah, we do, but I didn't know that could drop from them. No, I wouldn't recommend holding out on that item until this point. I'd just buy it as soon as you could. If anything, it's just free money. So because there's a max of 3 enemies on the screen at a time... Which weapon was I using? I think it was the boomerang, yes? Sure was. Or the chakram. I'd recommend killing that guy so that way it can't multiply and make your life harder, since these guys were already on the screen. It's just a much easier way to handle that. And Popoy's sword's level 2. What do I want him to hold on to now? Let's give him the spear. He has a lot of catching up to do anyway. I swear these things are more cowardly in this version of the game. Medical herb, well. Oop. Let's double check. This one is the kid goblin. Oh, they're just goblins in this. Maybe I was mistaking the other goblins as kid goblins and so on. Alright. Oh, and he's hiding behind the, well, I can't quite remember what it's called. Brazier? I really hope I didn't embarrass myself and call it some piece of women's clothing. Maybe it's the only difference is its pronunciation. I don't know. Wow, 56 on that thing? That's awesome. Alright, so for this thing, I'm definitely going to try and charge this up.
Keep it coming.
Okay. And there's the damage. I'm just going to avoid him. Not worth the fight. I killed one. I showed you how hard it is to kill. Alright, in this episode we made it pretty far. We made it most of the way through this here dungeon to, well, restore the power of the mana sword, at least partially. And yeah, in the next episode we're going to continue to try to do that and see what we're going to face. See you later and have a good one. Bye-bye.